Hello, everyone. Um, so I have been using Cursor for a long time. Uh, I say for a long time. For the last 6 months, I've been paying the $200 a month plan at Cursor. And if we just kind of go over here to my Cursor dashboard, we can see that I have $158 worth of credits already used. This is getting insanely expensive. Um, I pay 200 bucks. I end up going over significantly, and it's just 200 bucks as an individual is kind of expensive already. Um, and I found myself in Cursor using Claude models mostly anyway. I try to use the Composer one. It can do pretty simple things, but Claude models are by far better. I've tried the Claude Code um, extensions, or at least the Claude Code terminal system, and I tried it for a little bit, and I didn't care for it, at least by default. Um, and so I tried it, and I moved on. Um, well, I didn't know some things about Claude Code that most people probably don't know either. And I only learned this by looking at, I learned about a project that's called AutoClaude. Um, this dude's actively working on this, and the project that I'm about to start has it's gonna look kind of similar to AutoClaude, um, but then there's the BMAD method for actually coding using AI. So the idea behind BMAD is we have a different agent for different reasons. Sorry about that, guys. I've got kids. I'm a dad. They're here with me. Their mother's not here. So, um, but we're gonna try to build this tool using BMAD. At first, I'm just gonna straight up vibe code until I get at least a initial runner of our new tool, and then I'll try to use the new tool to build itself. Um, so they do a really good job at laying out the BMAD method within the documentation here, at least on the README of the repo. From what I understand, this tool is a CLI tool, and don't really care to have a whole lot of CLI tools. If I'm vibe coding, I want to be as hands off as possible when it comes to coding. So that's why I like this whole layout with AutoClaude. I'll try to set up AutoClaude myself to use it, but I couldn't get through the setup process. So this is really finicky. So again, as a vibe coder, I don't want to be fussing around with tools or anything like that. I want just my tools just to work for me out of the box. So the first thing that I want to do and steal from this project is the Kanban board. I like the way that he's laying this out. It's something I've had on my mind for a while. Cursor's again, Cursor's just stupid expensive, 200 bucks a month, and I'm still going over on the credits. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to implement a way around that and just use Claude Code behind the scenes. Um, but I can inject stuff into Claude Code. I didn't know I could do that. So what I have, and we're going to use Cursor to build this product at least from the beginning. So what I have is a brand new project. Actually, just a blank folder at this point. Um, we're going to build a desktop app, um, and over time we'll build more tools to allow this thing to interface with outside world. So yeah, so let's first get this project initialized. Um, we're just gonna again vibe code this. I'm gonna use the composer model for now, and as time goes, we may have to switch into um, the Opus model. I don't see myself using my tool for at least the first couple of live streams. I feel like we're going to be in Cursor for a little bit, and then and it's going to be a little bit before we even get anything up on GitHub. Um, so I will ultimately release this into um, into open source. Now, the way that I want to build this is right now we're building a coding tool, right? But I want to ultimately make this the underlying agents modular enough that we can use it for anything. So we can introduce more tools and things like that. As you guys know, I get into trading, so I want to this thing to eventually be able to take in tools for like gathering market data, this kind of stuff, introducing my own uh, AI agents for algo trading, that kind of stuff later on as well. So for now, we're going to gear it towards coding, but this will lay the groundwork for some other tools that I want to build in the future anyway. All right, so I'm gonna start dictating here, um, and let's just get off to the ground. I'm gonna let Cursor choose a lot of the technologies initially, and if there's something I don't like, I'll steer it a little bit. I would like to initialize a new desktop app that will be written in Node.js, preferably TypeScript, um, that will ultimately become an AI agent of sorts. For now, don't worry about the agent side. We'll just initialize a Node.js TypeScript desktop app. All right, guys. So it's initializing. Let's see what happens. So I used Electron. That's what I would have used myself. And let's just npm I. My kids are fixing to annoy me a little bit more. So hold on just a second. All right, so I did an npm I. We'll do that again because it finished. I don't. Okay, so we're gonna try to do an npm run dev. um, so it just does a tsc watch. Okay, so first off, I want my dev command to spin up the whole application, do the tsc watch. That's what I want. So this looks good. I would like my npm run dev command to spin up the entire application and continue watching. That way, as things change, I can see the changes in real time. All right, cool. So it's making those changes. It looks like it needs cross env, which is fine, I guess. Which I don't see cross. Oh yeah, yeah I do. We'll do an npm I real quick again. And we'll do an npm run dev. There we go. So it gives me. So we're gonna go ahead and move this down to where I would prefer it. And so it gives me this stupid little AI. It uses. I don't know why AI decides on this color scheme every time. It's so stupid. But at least it gives me an Electron app, and and it starts at least. All right, so let's go ahead and um, we're going to create a new agent here because I one of the things I've noticed with Cursor is as you're doing stuff, you want new agents. It otherwise it gets confused and starts costing more for no reason, and you're just going back and forth spending. I mean, it's a domino effect. All right, so we're going to create a new agent here, and I'm going to say um, I would like to create an administrative style layout. To the left, we will have a sidebar. The sidebar options will be projects, boards, ideas, roadmap, and things like that. On the right, we should have the page content. I'm looking for more of a dark theme. Uh, think of Material UI in dark mode. uh, that's not what I was expecting. Okay, so this somewhat, I wasn't expecting a .html file. Um, I mean, it looks like it's off to a good start anyway. We're going to have it convert the project to React. This looks great, but I would rather this be in React, actually using Material UI. All right, so I'm gonna let it go ahead and do that. Um, it looks like it's doing the npm install for me. So actually, let's see if we can get to YouTube here. I just want to see if you guys are actually chatting or anything like that, or if anybody's even watching. Okay, cool. We're going to do an npm run dev, see what happens. Great. This looks a lot better. Um, I would like the projects list on the left side to be a drop down. I would like the drop down to have an end dormant to create a new project. I keep closing it. Good. If there's not currently a project open in the content area, I would like to show recent projects, remove all of these left sidebar items, and give the user an option to create a brand new project. Okay, cool. So no projects yet. Um, If there's no projects yet, let's remove the top right create new project button. Otherwise, it's just redundant. Also, the left sidebar, we can hide it completely if there's no projects. All right, so this looks good. It's still doing what it's doing. So if we create a new project here, in creating a new project, we would like to open a Windows Explorer dialog to select a folder in which the project files will exist. When we create the new project, let's create a brand new folder, .vibely. Okay, see what happens. Okay, the dialog that opens is not a file dialog. Right now, it's just a dialog that's asking for a project name. The user needs to be able to browse to a project folder. Okay, so we're getting an error. It's because I just need to restart Electron. Okay, cool. So we have this. All right. So what I need to do here is just have it use the folder name as a project name. I would like to use the folder name as the project name rather than asking the user for the name of the project. Later on, the user can rename the project. So I need to give it a screenshot here because we got an error. And let's see if we can fix that. I don't want it to run npm run builds, but whatever. I'm still getting the same error when I tried to create a project. We're not creating a brand new project folder. We should be creating a new .vibely folder within that the project folder that we select. So I need to create a new cursor rule that tells the agent not to try to build the project. Alright, so we're gonna try to just run dev here. We're gonna select the folder. Okay. Select the folder. Okay, so we do have the Vibely folder being created here. This looks great. When creating the Vibely folder, we need to make sure that we create a hierarchy of files that we need within that folder. Some of these files will be rules, tasks, tickets, things like that. Guys, alright, so it's still trying to run a build, which I told it not to, so see what happens here. I don't know why Edge opened. Create new project, Vibely, select folder. Failed to create a project folder, Vibely folder already exists in this location. Alright, so that's probably true. We're going to go to downloads here, and we're just going to go into the VS Code project here. We're going to delete that. Create a new project, select folder. Alright, so the Vibely we're just going to do this here. Cool, yeah, great. This looks great. However, when I try to open a project that already exists, by creating it, I mean, it's saying that the Vibely folder already exists and throws an error. However, what I would like it to do is detect that the folder already exists, verify the system hierarchy, and then open the project from where we left off. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and run that again. I'm going to create a new project. Oops, we're going to select the folder. Select folder. Cool. So now we're in here. When opening the app, it's not seeing the recent projects that I've accessed. We should be storing this somewhere. Also, on the left sidebar, rather than showing a projects folder and menu option, it should be a drop down. Okay. Create new project. We're just going to go ahead and select that. All right, guys. I'll be back. Sorry about that. My daughter decided she wanted to chew on my bed and bust her lip in the process. So I had to go deal with that. All right, cool. I did come in here and press a button though. When the app starts, it does show a list of recent projects, but that list goes away pretty quickly, and the no projects yet dialog shows. All right, let's restart the app and see what happens. I'm going to open the project, select the folder, and nothing happens. Okay, so show, okay. So now we're going to restart the app again, see what happens. There we go, we're going to open it. Cool, we're good. We're going to hit new project, and let's just go to my projects list here and select the folder. Now we got bucket browser, code. Great. Now let's go ahead and just create a new agent because it's not understanding the fact that I want a select drop down on the left for selecting the currently active project. So on the left sidebar, I would like a select drop down for the project list. Move the create new project action as an end adornment to the select. There's a visual glitch in which the drop down icon appears over the end adornment. See the image for details. I would rather the end adornment appear on the right in the create project. I would rather the end adornment appear on the right and the drop down icon appear on the left. See the image for details. You've done the wrong thing. Rather than flipping them to where they need to be, you've just spaced them out. Select project needs to be renamed to current project, dot, dot, dot. Rename select project to current project, and by default select the most recent project, most recently opened project. Alright guys, so this is what it looks like right now. It's Vibely. We got this bucket browser project. I can switch into VS Code, and if I hard refresh here, it's selecting the right one. We need to remove the none option here. So remove the none option from the drop down. If we have a selected project, we need to go ahead and render the rest of the menu options for that project, such as task board, roadmap, things like that. Cool. So we have like the different pages here. This looks great. Let's create a new route. Vibely currently has the basic UI. I need to now add the elements for the task board. But before we do that, let's go ahead and work on routing to make sure that we can switch between the different pages on the left sidebar. Okay, this looks good. Okay, so we're gonna reload the app, see what happens. Okay, now I'm getting some console errors here. I don't know what the error is. Let's see if we get it in this console. From the last change, the app renders just fine for just a second, and then the page goes white. Okay, cool. So we have task board. Looks great. Let's start building the task board. The idea of this task board is it will be a Kanban style board with the 5 current columns: planning, in progress, AI review, human review, and done. The 5 columns should span the entire width of the page. Remove the Add Task button on anything other than planning. Add Task should open a modal. The modal should ask for the task name, description, and other details. Remove the tags and due date. Add a type. A type can be a feature, epic, or bug. Okay, so this is what we have so far. So there's that Kanban board. No tasks. We can add a task here. Test, test. We'll say this is a low priority. This is a feature. Create. Alright, so what we need to make sure of though is that we clicking on a task should open the task dialog so we can edit the task. The card for the task should show the name of the task type, and the priority. Okay, so it's going through everything. This is what we have now. So we have planning, test, test. We'll say that this is medium priority. Boom. All right. It's good here. When creating or editing a task, we need to save the task to the project. All right, so we're gonna call this test, test, create. Okay, so we don't have the save task here. So test, test, create, reload, task board, in progress, reload, task board. Okay, so now it's saving. Cool. All right, so what we've done here is we created this Kanban style board here. And in the roadmap, what I imagine is the roadmap would have an epic, right? And the epic would be, let's build out my app, right? Or phase two of my app, phase three of the app, right? So this would be my roadmap. Within my roadmap, I do some planning and designing, right, of what my app should be. And ultimately, when I'm done, I go ahead and create all of the tickets, which then gets sent up to my task board. My task board goes into this planning mode. Um, and whenever it's in planning mode, I want an AI agent to take it from planning, do all the research it needs to do, right? And then um, move it. Well, we don't even want to move it. It's just I need this planning to be split up into two different. So uh, we'll say unplanned and ready for development, right? So so each task column, each column on my board needs to be broken up into many different segments. For example, planning needs to have a segment called unplanned and ready for work. In progress needs to have queued, in progress. AI review needs to have queued, in progress. Human review needs to have queued, approved, denied. And then done needs to have ready for release or unreleased. So I'm basically breaking up because the AI agent's going to take over. So so basically, it's going to keep doing this until it's ready. All right. So see how we have this unplanned and ready for work. So the idea is when we create a ticket here, it's going to go into unplanned. What this does is it should theoretically kick off an AI agent to do the research and all that it needs to do on this ticket and get it ready for work. Once it's ready for work, it'll drop it into here, right? I will be able to then click on this and say, hey, we need to refine this further, which will then kick it back up to unplanned, right? Um, or if it's ready to go, I say, okay, this is ready. So then I will move it to in progress, right? So this will go into queued by default. The AI agent will then pick it up off the queue, throw it in progress, build out all the features. Whenever that's done, it'll throw this into AI review. The AI will then review it. So it'll pick it up off the queue, review the work, right? And then kick it up into human review. So as a human, I click on this, it should open up my web browser, however, right? Run everything I need to do to get it to where I can review this. And I have an approve and deny button. Okay, so if it's approved, I go here, right? If I hit a deny, I say this is why it's being denied, right? So it goes into this denied. The agent will then pick it back up off of here, do any kind of planning that it needs to do against the reasoning, and then throw it back into ready for work, right? Then it will reiterate through here, right? And just keep going, and then I'll see it again. Eventually, eventually it'll go from approved. Once it's approved, the AI agent will pick it up from here, and eventually merge it into main and do it ready for release. Right? Ready for release. Whenever we finally say, hey, cut a release, it'll move it to a released thing. So we need to actually change this from unreleased to release. All right. Change unreleased to released. So that's my workflow anyway. And I don't know how much that actually relates to the BMAB method, right? So if we look at BMAB, we have different flows, right? Quick flow, bug fixes, small features, tech spec only, less than 5 minutes to start. Products, platforms, PRD, architecture, UX, 15 minutes. And enterprise has another track, right? So we have analysis, planning, solutioning, implementing. Um, I guess this somewhat relates to BMAB. All right, guys, I'll be back. I gotta go deal with kids again. All right, guys, I'm back. Part of being a dad, get pulled off to the side often. All right, so I need to, for now, start working on how this research is going to happen. Um, so bear with me a little bit, um, and we're gonna build out a feature uh, for now, right? It's not. It may or may not use Claude Code. I don't think it will, but it's going to use the Claude API nonetheless. Um, and let's just start working on this feature here. Or actually, I need to start building out the system settings. So we have this tool here. I need to have an overall settings icon up here. On the top left, next to the Vibely name, I would like to add a settings button. The settings button will be global settings that apply across the platform, such as API keys and things like that. This looks good. I need to make sure that I'm allowing users to insert their Anthropic API key. Excuse me, guys. Once we have an Anthropic API key, we need to fetch all of the available models and let the user select their preferred model. Okay. Key, and we're going to call this Vibely. Add that. Copy the key. Save settings. Oh, yeah, I need to. Alright, so I've put in my key here. I hit save, and now it's asking me for my preferred model. I'm gonna go ahead and say we're gonna. I don't know what the model cost is. Um, say Anthropic, and to use each Anthropic model. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and go over here. Start with the most capable model. Um, okay. Near frontier performance with lightning fast speed and extended thinking, our fastest and most intelligent Haiku model at the most economic price. So Haiku 4.5, exceptional intelligence, reasons for special. Okay, real-time applications, high volume intelligent processing, cost sensitive. Okay, so this will be like our planning mode, I guess. Exceptional intelligence and reasoning for specialized complex tasks, highly complex code base refactoring, nuanced creative writing, specialized scientific uh, analysis, professional software engineering, advanced agents for office, autonomous coding agents. I don't know what the pricing is. Figure that out. So Opus is $25. Ooh, wow, that's expensive. Um, then we're gonna say Sonnet 4.5. What does Sonnet cost? Sonnet's actually kind of cheap compared to it. Um, highly complex code base refactoring. So this Opus 4.1, we probably won't be using that. And Haiku is dirt cheap. Okay, so Claude Haiku for actual research and planning, right? And then Opus for actual writing code is probably, or Sonnet for writing code, Sonnet and Opus. All right, so I would like to change this a little bit. I would like the user to be able to select a different model for different reasons. For example, for writing code, we may want to use Claude Opus. For reasoning and planning, we might want to use Haiku. All right, my wife is calling me. Give me just a second, guys. Sorry, guys. I am back. I didn't realize that there was people in my chat. King Quez, I'm actually from Dallas, and this project is it's going to be called Vibely. The idea is it's a vibe coder's dream project that will help you build projects from beginning to end without actually looking at the code at all. Um, RanXO, sorry, I didn't know that there was people in chat. Um, Again, this is a vibe coding tool. I didn't know that you guys were watching. Sorry about that. I'll pay attention to the chat. I need to sign in. Um, I can do it through my browser though. That's fine. All right. Um, so that's what this tool is, and I'll pay attention to the chat over on my screen. All right. So right now we have this global settings thing. Right. For some reason I can save my settings, and it asks me what models I want to use. But when I refresh, it doesn't reload my settings. So um, so yeah. We have an error here, which, I mean, we can restart the application. Maybe that's what the error is, but it's not, right? So I'm having this model preferences not assignable type. Um, so let's deal with that here in just a second. When refreshing the application, it's not loading my currently saved settings. Okay, cool. So now let's, yeah, still not. Could the issue be related to the console error that I'm receiving? And I just lost my freaking API key. uh, Alright, let's go get a new API key, I guess. API keys. We're going to delete the Vibely one. Vibely. I'm going to add here. We're going to copy the key. Alright. I'm going to save the settings here. And let's just refresh our. Yeah, it's still not loading it. I'm still getting the error. Maybe I'm getting the error. I don't know. Yeah, I'm still getting the error. I'm going to document that API key over here though. Alright. I'm still getting the error, and my saved settings are not loading. Oh, I see what was happening. Okay, so it's loading now. Um, it wasn't obvious that I needed to select the model, so that's fine. We'll deal with that later. All right, so we're gonna say code writing is going to be Opus 4.5, or maybe we do Sonnet 4.5. We're going to do reasoning. My wife is calling again. Hold up, guys. All right, so we're gonna say Haiku 3.5, and again, we're gonna play with these, and for more complex reasoning, we'll do that. All right, so we need to do that. We'll say new agent here. We need to run a loop that looks for the unplanned tasks, and we need to kick off an agent that will plan our task for us, then move it to the ready for work. This planning will do a couple of things. It will create subtasks as part of our main task. It will fill out any notes that need to be filled out, and subtasks could also have extended notes, that kind of stuff. As you can imagine, it'll be an AI agent that will set everything up for us. All right, so let me see. All right, so let's go look at our task board. Load rules. Task board. Okay, so let's restart our application because apparently it's created the IPC stuff for us. Let's go to task board and see if it kicks off the task. Status play segment unplanned. Okay. I don't see anything happening. Oh, like it did actually happen. I see that the task did move to ready for work, but I don't see any details for the task. Dot dot dot. All I see is that it moved. I need to know the subtasks, I need to know the notes, I need to know all of that stuff, and it's not displaying on the UI. Alright, let's create a new project here. I'm gonna go over here and just create a folder. Call this Fibly test project. Folder. Okay. So we're gonna create a new task here. See what happens. So the task name will be initialize project. create a new React app using Next.js. Priority doesn't matter. We can say that this is actually a high priority. Segment unplanned, feature, create task. Alright, so this should theoretically my project. Eventually it did move. Alright, cool. Setting up a new React application from Next.js, ensures clean. Okay. Subtasks. Create a new Next.js project, initial organize project directory, initial configuration setup, state management, configure CSS styling, initialize Git repository. Perfect. This is exactly what I want. All right. Now what I need to know, what I need to do though, within the planning column of the task board, I need it to go from unplanned to planning to ready for work. When the AI agent picks up from the unplanned section, it needs to move it to the planning section, and then when it's done planning, it needs to move it to the ready for work section. All right. See what happens. All right, so we got it somewhat planning here. I need to work on the bridge between the UI and the Electron tasks. I need the UI to update much faster than just polling Electron. I like this. Okay, so I am just going to move this create a simple to-do list back up into unplanned, which should theoretically pick it up. For some reason it's not. All right. So I'm gonna kind of get through. Feel like we're calling the API over and over and over again, as we're getting these logs over and over and over again. So say it did move by itself, by the way. All right, so it's re-rendering unnecessarily at this point. All right, so it looks like this is going good now. Um, Now I need to make sure that um, this model that's actually planning my work, it needs to be able to read through some files and make some tool calls and that kind of stuff. So I need to start adding a way for this to actually work. As you can see, this project will have multiple agents for different reasons. So I need to make sure that different agents have different access to different tools. So for example, my planning agent needs to have access to read files and actually look at an index of my application. As you can see, this project can be really complex and have different AI agents for different reasons. Different agents need access to different tools. In my case, the planning agent needs access to read an index of my application and also read files so it can further research into what needs to be done. The index that we create needs to be of all the files within the project. It needs to be easily searchable by an AI agent. No matter the agent, it should be able to find what it needs in the index. And we need to store that within our project folder, and we need to make sure that our project folder is not part of the index, aka the .vibely folder. All right, let's restart our application here. This was a pretty good sized change. Um, we're going to go ahead and open the task board for our project, and it says finish processing cycle, API key, and all that. So we need to go to the projects folder here, and let's Vibely test project. We're gonna go look inside of our folder. Data, there's nothing in here. Rules, tasks, tickets, project.json. Okay. I don't see the index being created when I open a project or reload a project. All right. So we have the planning loop. I only see log index. I only see log statements for the planning loop. I don't see any log statements for the indexing. Okay. We're gonna try this again. Task update. Bucket browser thing. Okay. Data.index.json. I want to go to Vibely. Load cache files. Alright, so I want to go to this bucket browser project here and see what's in it. Okay. Within our index, it would make sense that we not only have the file list, but other data that the AI agent can use to further enhance any kind of research that the agent needs. Maybe a description of what the file is, that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. I don't see any new chat messages over here. All right. So what we have here is the Bukkit browser project, and we'll go ahead and switch over to the test project. All right, and then we'll go back to Bukkit browser, see if it. I'm gonna go to data index and delete that inside of. Oh, well, we need to do that inside of Bukkit browser as well. So we're gonna reveal this in File Explorer, and we're gonna to delete that. All right, so we're gonna go to the test project here, and then we're gonna go back to Bukkit browser. Uh, path, name, directory. I don't see any of the new stuff being added to that, so I'm gonna actually just go ahead and restart our app. Oops, whoops. Restart our app. We're gonna go back over to this test project and back to Bukkit browser. There we go. So we got some description configuration file, right? Index.html. Um, name, okay, cool. Purpose defines file system. Tags entry, JavaScript. Okay, cool. So this is looking good. Um, this is actually looking really, really, really good. We got the README description. Looks great. We need to make sure that the planning mode has access to the file system. So we need to expose a tool to read files. The read file needs to be only able to read files of the project. So it cannot read any files outside of the project. Also, when calling planning mode, we need to go ahead and include our index so that it can have a context to start from. Hey, if you're new here, welcome. This is a new project. We're building a brand new coding tool. I'm actually vibe coding a coding tool. It's kind of funny. Um, the idea of this tool is I want to have some sort of Kanban board to actually work my projects, my AI coding projects, my vibe coding projects. Um, and I want it just to work out of the box. So we're building this tool. Ultimately, um, It's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, research, tasks, all that kind of stuff. You just hit go and it just goes. All right, so let's go ahead and run this, and we're going to go ahead and switch out to a different project. We're going to switch back into Bucket Browser. I need a feature to delete a ticket. I want to have a feature to delete a ticket. It's still going. Every time it goes, it refreshes my app. All right, so let's see. Yes, delete it. Cool. All right, so this bucket browser project, quote unquote, is just to browse AWS buckets. So I'm gonna create a task right here. We'll call it cleanup UI. I want the UI to look more like a Windows file browser. I should be able to open multiple buckets at the same time and drag files between those buckets. Okay, I'm intentionally being a little vague here about my current state of the application, and I'm trying to ask for something a little bit more advanced as well. I want to see just what happens here. So I'm going to go ahead and create the task. It's going to end up in this unplanned state. It should go into planning eventually. Um, yep, so it did go into planning here, and then it should go into this ready for work bucket. And yeah, so that's the idea. Still, yes. So it's actually making tool calls here. Finished processing cycle. Failed to complete planning task. Cleanup UI. Failed to parse AI response. Bad control character. String little. All right. So we are having a bug from the AI though. Actually, oh, it's still planning. Planning tool call reading file renderer.js. Um. Okay. So task unchanged project. Finished processing cycle. All right. Let's see what happened. Let's see what it did. Okay, so it's saying define a design. So it says the current application is a single bucket browser with connection panel and a file view list to implement a Windows file browser-like experience with multiple buckets and drag and drop trial transfer. Significant UI and functionality changes be required. Key considerations include, and it gives me a big list. This is great, right? And then we have the create multi-column layout display. Say, okay, modify key changes in render.js. I'm not completely sure what render.js is, so let's yeah, okay, render.js, okay. All right, I'm getting a phone call. Give me just a minute. Busy person, I guess. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry, that was a um, phone call I had to get to. All right. So what we have here is we have this planning agent that that basically comes in and says, okay, well, let's take an unplanned task that I just come in and I just give it a task name and description. I don't even need to put the notes or anything like that in it. The AI agent will then take that, throw that into this planning state. So it'll go from unplanned to planning. The AI will then plan our work, right? And then we then have this whole cleanup UI, and so we have this whole pending subtasks and that kind of stuff. What I need to do is I need to add some tabs to the edit task. I want to know the logs of what happened and what stage that those logs happened in. So let's actually go back to the tool real quick and start implementing those logs. So I love what we have now. However, when I go and start to edit a task, I would like to have a um, tab at the top so I can see the logs behind the task, right? So when the AI agent does anything, I need to know the logs and what it did uh, for historical reference. I need to know what stage the log was in. So if it was in planning, right, or planning ready for work, or in progress queued, in progress, AI review queued, AI review in progress, etc. All right, so all right, let's go ahead and just restart our project because there's some changes here. Let's go to taskboard. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this task. I'm actually gonna just recreate it and let it run through again. Okay, so the logs here. All I'm seeing is the actions in the logs for what the AI agent did as far as moving the task between the task board. I need to also see the tool calls and things like that that the AI agent made during its transit. See that? This is why I'm building this tool. I'm not doing anything really that spectacular. I'm staying on the Composer 1 model. I'm paying $200 a month for this tool, and I'm running out of usage way too quick. Um, it's not really worth it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Cursor to build my own tool, and then I'm getting rid of Cursor. That's the goal. Something a little bit more powerful than Cursor. All right. So this one here, let's see what the logs are. All right. So let's create the same task again. Create the okay. So now I'm seeing stuff happen on the UI. I didn't really restart the application though, so probably not going to see anything on the. See what the usage is right now. So token usage today 3.5 high Q. Nice. Cost is today 4 cents. 4 cents. That's nice. All right, so I didn't actually restart the application, so let's actually restart it this time. And we're gonna go to Bucket Browser and UI cleanup. And maybe whatever. We'll just hit create task. With the log show, nothing yet. Log shows. Planning tool call, reading file, render, JS. Okay, so now we see this log here. Task created. AI agent started planning, loading application index, sending request, initiated planning request, read file. So it's requesting 3 tool calls. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. This looks great. Sending. Okay. So this looks wonderful, actually. Um, I would like to see here. I would like to flip the order of the logs from beginning to end, and when we go to the logs tab, just scroll down to the end by default. Also, on the tool calls, rather than showing like read file, read file, read file as comma separated list, I actually put the tool calls themselves individually into a um, kind of alert looking thing. Okay, so we got this list of tickets here. I want to get rid of the ones that we don't need. Get them out of the way. Okay, let's just restart the application and see if it's not rendering the tool calls correctly. Okay, so let's delete this. We'll just create another one and just see if it's just task. Tool call. All right, let's see what happened. Said logs. This is light. This is neat. Okay, cool. Logs. That scrolls down to the bottom. This is perfect. All right. Now we got the edit task here. We got the details here. What I need to do now is so we need to make sure that the user cannot drag tasks from unplanned to planning to ready for work. The user cannot actually drag tasks out of the unplanned section of the application. Uh, the user cannot drag tasks from the planning section. The user can, however, drag a task from ready to work to unplanned or into in progress queued. The user cannot actually do any other actions. Currently, there are only two valid actions that a user can take. They can either drag a ready for work task back to unplanned, or they can drag a ready for work task to queued. They cannot do any other action with the planning column. Please make it that way. No one really wants me to come play video games with him, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up and see what we can do here. So, cannot drag here. We can drag to unplanned. That's fine. We can drag to queued, but we cannot drag anywhere else. That is perfect. A user should not be able to um, change the segment. So we need to make sure that those same restrictions also apply on the edit task modal for status and segment. Actually, for now, let's remove the status and segment completely from the edit task modal. When creating a ticket, we need to make sure that it goes into planning unplanned by default. Okay. Oops. Perfect. So this looks like it's good. If I save changes here, cool. And then let's add a task connecting to multiple buckets. All right, so let's create the task. Okay, so let's go into source here. I want to see something. UI cleanup. We got multiple buckets. Task involves extending the current S3. Okay, cool, cool. Logs here. Read file path, main.js, cool. Render.js. This is perfect. Okay. It seems like we're adding all of the Electron code into one singular file. This will get hard to maintain. Let's go ahead and break this up into multiple files, depending on what it's for. Also, we need to make sure that when we are defining AI agents, we're defining the system prompt within a markdown file. Make sure our application works still. All right, so we're getting an issue now. browser. Um, okay, let's see what happens. Okay, perfect. File copying, logs. It's doing everything it needs. Great. Let's introduce our next AI agent. This agent will be responsible for actually implementing our ticket. So when a user drags a ticket from ready to work to in progress queued, the AI agent should pick up the ticket and perform the tasks that are within the ticket. So this agent will need access to read and write files, and it needs access to the index and anything related to actually developing. It should not be able to run terminal commands or anything like that. All right. So okay. Let's rewrite the prompt for the task implementation agent to give the agent the context of it is a senior software engineer. Its responsibility is to research and implement the tasks that are given. Um, it can fetch the next task. It can mark a task as complete. It can do any of that kind of stuff. Now we also need to modify the workflow a little bit because whenever it goes from in progress queued and work starts, it needs to go to in progress in progress. Once the work is done, it needs to move from AI review queued. All right, guys, if you're watching and you're new here to the stream, we are building an AI agent that is responsible for taking a um, a project, right? So I as a, so basically we're building an AI team, for example, programming team for vibe coding. Um, this the idea behind it is I create a task, right, and it goes into this unplanned section here. All I do is I fill out the task name, the description. The AI agent will pick it up from this unplanned section and take it into planning. When it's done planning, it will take it to this ready for work. It will then pick up from ready to work. The next agent will this planned out task. It will then throw that into queued. So I will throw this into queued, right? The user will. Once work is queued, the next agent will pick it up and throw it into the next level of process. Give me just a second. My wife is calling. All right, guys. Sorry about that. I'm back. So this what we just did was that first implementation of this in progress, right? I don't know what it's going to do. It may blow up in my face, but let's go ahead and kill the project real quick, and we're going to restart it just to make sure it's got a good clean slate, like a user would do. We're going to go into this bucket browser, and we're going to uh, do file copying. Let's just grab that feature. Let's see what the AI actually does. So we're looking at the log here. See if it actually does pick up the task. Um, okay, so the task is in progress. So it did tool calls, it's reading the files and things like that. I don't think it, let's see here, implementation loop, IPC handlers, um, save projects, load tasks, save tasks, subscribe to okay. So, okay, so it's writing the file now. Writing file preload. Agent. Like it's actually writing data, so that's good. Oh, here's the tools. So here's write file, content. um, so that's what we're doing now. We're actually just waiting for it to finish. Can do. But my problem right now that I'm seeing, and we can actually see that it is an AI review now. That's good. Alright, so let's see what happened. Bucket browser. Okay, so it's saying pending. So it's not actually marking the subtask as complete or anything like that. Let's see what the logs say. So these logs are quite long. Fine. Alright. Seems like when we're logging every action that happens, which is correct, but it's also logging the entire contents of a file that's written. I'd rather log just the file that we wrote to. Same thing with reading the file. I would rather just log the file that we read rather than the whole JSON string. Because the problem with that is if I open this, it's going to have the subtasks, which is fine, right? But yeah, see how the logs here? It's just putting all of that data in the logs, which is insane amount of data. So we don't want that. So we just need to keep it condensed. We need to make sure that also when we're saving the logs, we're not actually saving the full contents of the file that we just changed into the logs. This will make the JSON file a little too big. It would also probably make sense that alright, so I want to make sure that when we're doing the implementation agent, we're picking the right model. So the model ID here is a string, so implement task. Let's actually just search our source. Agent. Model ID here. Okay, cool. So we're doing the implementation model first, then general model, and then a model that doesn't actually exist anymore, which is perfectly fine for now. All right, so we have this working, sort of. As tasks are complete, we need to mark them as complete. For example, when I worked my last ticket, as the AI agent was completing any of the subtasks, it wasn't actually marking them as complete. Maybe this needs to be part of the tool call. We also need to make sure that the agent is only being delivered one subtask at a time. So that way the agent isn't actually trying to do all of the work of the tasks under the same run. So I don't want to try to do a one pass. I want each subtask to be a different pass. So we have one subtask at a time. Added mark subtask complete tool. Updated the subtask completion logic and update prompt. Um, so updated workflow focus, implement, mark complete, final response. Okay. You are a senior software engineer. Practice this your role is to research, analyze, and implement tasks assigned to you. Access the application file structure and the ability to read and write files from the project. Research, documentation, add appropriate comments and documentation. We need to update the task implementation agent to also write any kind of unit tests that it needs. And logical changes rather than large refactors. And cool. All right, let's run it. Let's restart the application, and we're going to run it through. We're going to bucket browser, and let's do multiple buckets. Let's queue that real quick, and the AI agent should pick this up. See what happens. Okay, so it found it. It's making the tool calls it needs to make. You can see it updated in the UI. For some reason or another, I can't actually open it, which is probably just a UI glitch, and we'll fix that here in a minute. I want to see it actually go through. So the implementation already processing, skipping. Perfect. I'll see how it went into reading files. No, it wrote a file. Right, it's still doing its thing. Okay, so still writing. All right. Okay, still going. I'm gonna try to refresh this UI real quick. See, yeah, everything's still set and pending. So I don't think we're quite there yet. What I need the agent to be doing is looping through each individual subtask of a ticket. Each subtask would be a brand new agent. We don't want to run more than one agent in parallel, but we need to run one after another. The script should be launch agent, let the agent perform the task. Then when the agent returns, mark subtask as complete. Move on to next subtask, do the same thing. Next subtask, do the same thing. Over and over until it has finished the full task. Once it finishes that full task, then we move on. Final save result, blah blah blah. Oops. No, okay. It would be nice. Oops. Let's It would be nice if we could take advantage of the agent cache somehow, so that Claude can reference things without so many tool calls and know what it's actually done for this one agent. That's not what I wanted to do. Since we can write to the Claude Cache for the agent, why don't we actually do that? It's fairly cheap and it can reduce pricing. And it could probably also speed up the whole process. We need to make sure that the cache is being used from the get-go. So when a uh, ticket is created, and then we do the research, and then we move on to implementation and all that, the cache needs to be getting built from the beginning so that Claude can reference that cache over and over and over until the end of that ticket's life cycle. All right, so it's looking like it's failing to use cache control for some reason. It says extra inputs are not permitted. Um, let's just paste this in. Anthropic API cache. Feature, system, Anthropic version. Okay. Model. Okay. Let's just see if this works. Add the task. Create the task here. File uploads. Let it go ahead and pick it up. Maybe it's something to do with that. Gotta restart it. Task. Yeah, it still failed planning for task. See where it's actually doing the cache control. Here. System messages role. Pride and prejudice. Yeah, there it is. Alright, let's try this again. I don't want the extra inputs. I want type. Fine, that's perfect. Exactly what I want. Alright, now let's see what happens. Planning, index, success, true. Okay, it's making tool calls. It's doing things faster, a little bit faster now. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I gotta go check if see if my wife put out food for dinner. At least she put it out to thaw. So give me just a moment. I'll be right back. All right, guys. It looks like it did pick up this task, the S3 uploads task. Don't see any notes or anything like that being added to it though, which is kind of concerning. It looks like the process to plan the task is not actually adding anything that it needs to add to the task. I was getting some invalid JSON as part of the response. Maybe we can update the agent prompt a little bit to make sure that it is returning back the correct things. All right, let's restart the application completely. I'm just going to drop that S3 uploads back into unplanned. Alright, let's see here. Planning raw AI response for 1,000 characters. Just gonna paste that in. Okay, I'm gonna restart the application. Okay, browser. Here it is. That looks good now. Alright, let's see if see what the util project file path types dictionary storage project data. Trying to figure out where the actual tools are. Okay. Excuse me, guys. Just trying hard for that implementation. I wish it would actually write and give me everything in real time. Seems to be going relatively slow. I'm gonna actually switch the model real quick from for code writing. I'm gonna change it to Haiku 3.5. I'm gonna save the settings here, and then I'm gonna go back to taskboard. I'm gonna just go ahead and for S3 uploads, just for giggles, I'm just gonna switch over. Failed to implement. What was that? I don't know what that was. That was weird. Oh, I see what that was. Okay. Finish processing cycle. Try to check for unplanned tasks. It takes a minute for these things to get through here, huh? So as you guys can see, the idea behind this is we go from unplanned, so we create a task, give it a name and description. AI agent plans the task for us. It goes into ready for work, so we can then open up the ticket, see what the AI agent planned. If we're happy with that, we go back to in progress. If we're not happy, we change the description and the task name, and then we put it back into unplanned and let the AI agent have another pass through it. And then once we're happy, it goes into in progress queued. So right now this S3 upload is queued for work. The AI agent picks that task up, it moves it into in progress. So this one's our in progress task right now. And it works through the subtasks one by one. And once those are done, it drops it into the AI review queued, right? And hopefully what we'll do is AI review queued will come through, it will run unit tests. Well, it'll check to see if there are unit tests. If there's no unit test, then or anything implemented for unit test, then it'll add a ticket or a subtask here. Hey, you need to implement unit tests for this. Kick it back. It'll then scan the project to make sure that the newly added tests actually match what the subtasks are for. It'll run the unit tests, make sure there's nothing failing. It'll then run the project, make sure it can run it, that sort of thing. So that's the idea. It's still working on this. But ultimately the goal is I want this thing just to autonomously work through the tasks, right? So I come in while it's working on tasks, I'm coming in, I'm planning, and I'm planning, and I'm planning, I'm planning, I'm planning, I'm planning throughout the day. And then however long it takes to get through this process, it takes, right? So I walk away and it's going through all of these steps here. And then by the time I come back, I have stuff sitting in human review. And I just mark them as approved or denied depending on the route. So the idea here is if I say, okay, well, it's approved, right? Then it will handle merging in for me. Or if I say, hey, no, this is denied, it'll ask me, hey, why'd you deny it? I tell it why. It takes that, adds it into the notes, pulls that into probably in progress, denied, right? It'll kick off a kind of a planning, or maybe I add the notes here, and we'll say planning denied work, right? It will then pick that up, go through the planning cycle again. When it's finished, it will go back into in progress and go through all of that. So that's the whole thesis about what I'm doing. Now, this is probably going to be kind of expensive to do it through Anthropic's API. We'll probably end up switching it out to like Claude Code or something and just using users stuff here. Like, yeah, see how expensive this has gotten so far? It's like $4.45 on I mean, it's not as expensive as Cursor is apparently, but still kind of getting up there. So the idea here is um, we will try as much as we can to reduce this cost even further. So I want to be able to do further indexing, make this agent as efficient as possible, and and make it as fast as possible. Still going through Sonnet. How long this is taking? Like 45 seconds. Got $12 left. Getting expensive. Oh, well, I mean, I've used half my credits so far. Yeah, it's still kind of just going and going and going and going. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and bounce. I'm gotta go deal with kids, and my wife will be home soon. So, yeah, I gotta go. I'm gonna let this keep running, and hopefully we get some good news, and rather than just sitting here waiting around all night. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your day, and bye bye.